TV.
It is December, and in these great times, in different time, families would be welcoming their loved ones who live abroad. Unfortunately, in the middle of the pandemic, only those who can dare will make the trip back home. But what are Ugandans out there doing in the middle of this entire pandemic? Now, to talk to us with this and more, we have Harrietta Wamala, the president, the new president of the Uganda North American Association. Good to have you, Wamala. Should I call you Henrietta or Wamala?
Henrietta is good.
Henrietta, good to have you. Well, it's very exciting. How does it feel to be president of UNAA? And how are you holding up?
It's an honor. It's a privilege. But it has also not been easy, given that I've been presiding over an association during the pandemic.
Oh, yes.
So a lot has happened when it comes to keeping the association's affairs in order.
Oh, yes.
But we have made strides.
You've made strides.
We have made strides, and I think we are doing okay compared to how the association used to be.
Sounds good at the association. Believe you me, I'm one of those Ugandans who distanced myself whenever I can from UNAA because it was too politicized. And first of all, let me ask you about, because I don't want to claim to be in your shoes, but how does it feel like to be evacuated from wherever you are as a Ugandan to come back to the country? And how does it feel to be back at home?
Actually, I made a stop in Uganda on my way from South Africa. I had some business I was doing in South Africa. So I made a stop, and even to make that stop, it wasn't easy because every plane you're trying to jump on, you have to have a PCR test done. I thought because I had one in the US, it would just be an automatic one to use for Uganda. And no, I was asked for another PCR test to be done in South Africa. So that kind of delayed my visit. I only arrived here a couple of days ago.
Oh dear.
So it's not easy to travel during the pandemic. That means that you have to actually put in more money than we used to. Remember that every PCR test at least costs you $100 plus. So you have to factor that in with the costs when you're traveling. Most likely, you won't see a lot of holiday makers like you usually have.
It's business.
Because of the costs, because they have been affected. A lot of people were affected during the pandemic. Some people lost jobs. But we are pushing on. We are a very resilient community in the diaspora.
Very much.
And we adapt and try to make sure that we survive. That's one thing I love about Ugandans.
Okay. And as soon as you landed, how was it when you were at Entebbe and you're back home? The whole feel of the breath of home.
It's always a pleasure to be home. It's always a good feeling. East-West home is best.
Home is the best, absolutely.
East-West
so yesterday, Your Excellency, Mr. Kalari, a lawyer that went to court and ordered the Electoral Commission to ensure that Ugandans abroad vote in 2021, now agrees with the EC, and Ugandans abroad will only vote in 2026. So 2021, they're not part of the voting bloc. As a president of an organization that brings Ugandans together in the diaspora, especially in America, does this consent judgment represent the aspirations of Ugandans?
This really concerns us because we would have loved to be part of the current electoral cycle. But we are also mindful that this the ruling came in so late in the game. When you talk of the diaspora, some people just think of North America sometimes, but the diaspora is a very
Japan,
vast.
It's even the ones in Rwanda, they're in diaspora.
Yes, actually one of the comedians that I follow on Facebook was like, yes, we are also in the diaspora. We are in the Abu Dhabi area, but we are also the diaspora.
That's the point. I follow you too.
Yes. So when you look at us as folks that are living in the diaspora, you have to really also be mindful that the Electoral Commission has to put measures in place that will be able to enable all of us to vote. Now, how are we going to vote? For example, I live in Illinois, in the state of Illinois in the US. The Embassy of Washington, the Embassy of Uganda is in Washington. So that means I have to either pay minimum $500 for a ticket. If they were to tell us to go vote at the embassy, I would have to pay $500 for a ticket. I would have to pay for a hotel room. because that means I have to go vote during the day and maybe jump on a plane back home. I have to forfeit a day's work because I'm going to vote.
Oh, yes.
So you have to look at all those costs that it would take for one to, for example, go cast a vote at the embassy. Now, the Electoral Commission either has to work on measures to see that everyone can vote in the comfort of the states where they are.
Oh, yes.
How secure is that vote?
That's the thing. That's the thing. I was coming to that. If Russia disrupted something in the previous elections
Thank you.
of such a big power, what about Uganda?
What about Uganda? So you may get more contention in the result of a vote than what you're really trying to earn out of it.
Has your administration, as a UNAA President, have you found modalities or technologies that can be shared with the government that they can, you know, check it with their security agencies, because there is security is very key for the government, and you share that kind of information?
Yeah, if we are always open to conversation, we are open to ideas. Especially when it comes to, for example, casting a vote for a candidate you want. Everyone has so many candidates they are interested in.
Yes.
This would have been a very lovely election for us to all get involved. And I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to have their voices said in this election cycle. So we are open to ideas. I'm sure we are never short of ideas. We have a lot of professionals. We have a lot of very
we have
brilliant people in the diaspora
Yes,
that could actually work with the government to give them the right modifications that could be used so that we are able to actually cast that vote. So we are hoping that 2026, we are not going to be shunned aside. Because I remember I came here in March and I had a meeting with the Speaker of Parliament and I presented this issue to her, because this is an issue we've been fighting for years.
Oh, yes.
And I've even been in contact with Mr. Kalali, the lawyer, and we actually exchanged messages. I haven't spoken to him, but we are happy that at least someone was there to fight for that right for us as well, because it's not easy for us to push our agenda when we are there.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes you really need
someone
to champion it on ground.
Of course, it's impossible to have someone like you here, and we don't talk about issues of immigration. People have to move out of Uganda.
Yes.
Canada and United States have become very pattern destinations of Ugandans.
That's
How hard has it become for normal Ugandans like me to go abroad? Okay, I went and I came back, but I mean a Ugandan who has never traveled but would love to go there. What is the news in the new laws in Canada and America which they should pay attention to, and some key elements there?
Yeah. When it comes to America, remember we are changing administrations.
Oh, yes.
There are a couple of laws that were kind of stringent that they were pushing, that the Trump administration was pushing for in immigration, whereby it was going to be harder for someone to actually either migrate to the Americas, meaning Canada and the US. At one time, we were even told that there is a law they are trying to push whereby someone should have at least $10,000 as a deposit left at the embassy, and that was being pushed within these last few months. So being that we are now transitioning from one government to another, we are hoping that these are some of the things that the Biden administration can look at and not you know, push that burden onto people who are trying to just come and migrate to the States or to Canada. I'm mostly speaking for the United States because that one is I easily get that information. But I always tell my Ugandans, please be good citizens. Because when you're a good citizen, chances are you won't have something that will come and be an issue for you when you're trying to either straighten your papers in the United States or even in Canada. So those are some of the issues that kind of hurt us as you're trying to straighten yourself out. You may not even have, you may have overlooked drunk and driving order that was on your driving record, and it will come up as you're trying to maybe straighten your papers in the courts of law. So it's usually the normal things that really affect us. But we try to work with lawyers. We have been, especially this time, we've been working so hard with lawyers, immigration lawyers, to help our folks. Given that we had COVID, a lot of cases were put on the back bench because the courts were closed. And now that things are easing up, you have the courts being overwhelmed with so much that's going on.
It will take time.
And some people are even falling through the cracks whereby they may end up being deported. So when someone comes to us, we look for resources for them. I just had a conversation with the secretary, and we had a whole immigration PDF document that we are going to upload on the website, whereby people can get at least legal, free or low-cost legal resources within the whole country, not just in one state. So we look at issues that really affect us, and those are the ones that we are really fronting.
Your
in our
Excellency,
leadership.
let's talk about Ugandans who love to go abroad. There is a lot of online fraud. Many succumb to this. There is get a green passport, travel, apply to Canada. There is a lot of Canada. Then there is a green passport wave, and it comes between the month of Feb and June. It's very, like every website you open, many people have fallen gullible to these kind of conversations. How best can you safeguard them as UNAA?
As UNAA, I would say, please, if you're trying to either migrate, you're trying to get into, you're trying to leave the country to do anything.
Yes.
Look for the official websites of those countries. With the US, it will always end with, I think, US at any URL, www URL website link. With Canada, it will, I think, have CA. If you go to any of these bogus websites, and unfortunately, they get to take your money, we cannot do much to help you. Because this is not just in Uganda, it's international.
It's world over,
Cybercrime is all over the place. So do your due diligence. Don't just fall prey to anyone who's, selling you anything. Do your due diligence and research. You have organizations such as UNAA. Reach out to us and ask us, do you think this is a legit website
to go through?
I receive all kinds of questions,
and
I always answer people. And I'm not short of faulting anyone who asks me anything, because we all don't know anything, and we learn from educating ourselves.
Every day.
So shoot us an email. My email is out there. Everyone knows it. president@unaonline.org.
You on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter. My phone number is out there. I'm an open book. So I'm always here to help. And my administration has actually done a good job at doing that.
We really want to thank you when it gets to that. Before you reign, UNAA was highly politicized organization. And people like me and a couple of other folks in the country, we decided to distance ourselves because it was too radicalized in a way. Now we're in a campaign season where one of the parties is a constant on different forums, mobilizing Ugandans abroad. Has this affected your work in any way?
I would say it affects me indirectly, because my members have a stand on various presidential candidates.
Indeed.
Now, as a leader, I've got to be objective.
How do you strike the balance?
I've got to strike the balance by making sure that I'm listening to all voices. I cannot take one side and ignore the other. Because that's what leaders do. You have to preside over everyone, regardless of whom they believe. Now, one of our objectives in UNAA is to provide counsel or advice to relevant government on policies that affect us. Regardless on who is sitting in the presidential seat in Uganda, UNAA will always work with them.
It's your mandate to
It is our mandate as leaders to work with the policymakers in Uganda, because if someone needs their passport renewed, I've got to talk to the government officials that are responsible for that department to make sure that these people get their passport renewed. If someone wants their Ndagamuntu, right now it's hard to do business if you don't have a Ugandan ID.
Very much so.
Everyone asks you for a NIN number. I didn't know what a NIN number was until I learned the hard way. So I had to get my Ndagamuntu.
To get it when you're that side.
Actually, we've been lucky that NIRA has worked with UNAA, and during the conventions, they come and help us apply for those IDs.
That's nice.
And even as I speak, they sent a bunch of IDs to the embassy.
Nice.
Such that people can go to the embassy and pick up their IDs. So in order for us to get these services, you need to work with the policymakers in Uganda. Regardless of who is
Whichever
in
party.
the seat, you're going to have to work with them. Now, of course, there's the connotation when
yes.
it comes to, we should be supporting Sanso, we should be supporting Sanso, but as an association,
You must compromise.
we are also a non-profit, and under the US laws, we cannot partake in any political activities.
Nice.
Now, of course, you may have some people who have either not done their due diligence and researched those policies
details, yes.
and details, and are even leaders in the association, and
They
may be making mistakes by putting the organization out there as if we are part of the politics, but we are not.
Okay. That said, the business cycles, how is UNAA helping Ugandans in diaspora invest back at home?
Oh, that is through our programs. Just in September, we had an online convention that pulled about 70,000 viewers.
That was nice.
It was a 3-day convention, as we usually do, but it was strictly virtual.
Online, yes.
Yes, and we had a trade and investment forum that ran for a whole day. We had policymakers come and present on what the policies are here and that can either favor you during, if you want to bring any investors in or if you're investing in Uganda. We had private organizations come and present. So we really promote trade and investment between both North America and Canada back to Uganda. So that is something that we do as one of our programs in UNAA.
Nice.
Yes.
What could be your last statement to Ugandans here and those in the diaspora? Because I'm sure they're watching you online.
Yeah. The first thing that I would like to actually tell our people back home is please stay safe in the US. COVID is on the rise again. But people here have kind of ignored and think that
You've
COVID
seen
is
them?
not. Yes.
They don't wear masks. They don't
wear
sanitize.
masks. By the way, we have our masks here.
Why
We
is
are
everyone
social
saying, "Oh,
distancing.
do you know how crazy it is in the markets?
It is so crazy. But I know about 8 people who have succumbed to COVID in just the few weeks that I traveled from the US. I've been getting messages.
Yes.
And unfortunately, some of them are even family members, and I've told family members, you know what, make sure that you either practice social distancing or don't go, because we don't know who has it in the house.
That's the thing.
I've tried to stay away from them.
Please do.
My own family members.
Please do.
So please, COVID is real. Right now you are in a political process. You have rallies going on.
And processions.
This is an appeal to all presidential candidates. Please educate your supporters and let them have masks on.
That's the best thing.
It's not going to be a good thing to preside over a nation that has lost so many people to COVID
It's very disturbing.
at the end of the political cycle.
Very disturbing.
People need to know that this is real. And I think you're going to see the after effects with what is going on in the US. After Thanksgiving weekend, a few weeks ago, we now have a spike in the numbers of COVID.
Oh, yes, we are.
After this political season,
It's going to be worse.
you'll be talking about COVID because a lot of people are going to be sick.
Indeed.
So we really pray and ask that you all keep safe.
Oh, there you have
And
it.
just a short one, Mr. Chamagero, I have 3 UNAA leaders in Uganda right now,
Okay.
and they are trying to give back. We have Solomon Namvole, who runs Pitimov. We have Alex Frey Lubega, who runs, I think, Project One. And we have our envoy, Mr. Isaac Sekabije, who runs a shelter for those that are abused.
Okay.
But they're trying to give back to the community during the festive season.
That's
So
nice.
we will be reaching out to the whole audience in Uganda, the whole audience in the US. The Pitimov and Project One are giving a basket of essentials and groceries to 200 families.
Wow, that's amazing.
And we hope that we can touch some people back there. So those are my UNAA leaders that are trying to work hard to see that we give back. And I told them I'll be your voice in these few days that are here and help you in whatever way I can.
Thank you so much. That is the UNAA President, Henrietta Wamala. She's still in Uganda for a few days. Follow her on Twitter, on Facebook. If you want to go to the US, many people, you people want to go to the US and Canada. Follow her on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and you get to know more details. And those that are going to give back during this festive season, we can thank you enough. That story and when it will be happening, NTV will be on the ground to bring you this conversation. We'll take a break and we'll be back shortly.